All right, so let's dive into the world of Johannes Vermeer.
Yeah.
And this deep dive is going to be a bit different, right? We're looking at his work through this lens of this exhibition in Amsterdam.
Wait.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
The largest collection of his paintings ever assembled.
Mhm.
28 of them.
Yeah.
28. What makes this even more amazing is that only around 35 Vermeers are even known to exist.
Right. I mean, that scarcity just amplifies the mystery,
Yeah.
surrounding him. His paintings are celebrated globally, right? For their beauty, that serene beauty and masterful use of light. But we know so little about the man himself.
Yeah, it's almost like trying to put together a puzzle with like half the pieces missing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No confirmed self-portraits, just few historical records. So how do we even begin to understand this guy?
I mean, it's a challenge, but not impossible. Researchers have become quite resourceful, actually. They've been piecing together fragments of his life from tax records and marriage certificates, and even using his paintings as clues.
Wait, what do you mean using his paintings? Like what?
Well, take the Little Street, for example.
Okay.
By carefully examining the architectural details
Okay.
and cross-referencing those details with tax records,
Okay.
researchers actually pinpointed the exact alleyway that Vermeer depicted.
Wow.
It really demonstrates how grounded in reality his work is, even if it feels incredibly serene.
That's incredible. It's like using his art to step back in time and walk through his world.
Yeah.
So speaking of his world, you mentioned Delft, his hometown.
Right.
What can you tell us about the environment that shaped Vermeer's art? What was going on there?
Yeah, Delft in the 17th century, I mean, it was a dynamic place.
Okay.
It was a hub for trade and industry,
Uh-huh.
newly independent from Spain.
Right.
So it's a city brimming with life
Yeah.
and this sense of national pride. And all that is reflected in Vermeer's work, those quiet domestic scenes that he's so famous for,
Right.
they really capture the essence of Dutch life.
Yeah, I've always been struck by the serenity of his paintings, but you're saying there's this deeper layer there that's connected to the social and political climate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
The Dutch Republic, newly established, their identity forged in this hard-won independence. They were celebrating everyday life.
Oh, okay.
The simple beauty of their homes and their lives, and Vermeer's art captures that sentiment perfectly.
It's amazing how a painting can transport us not only to a specific place,
Yeah.
but also into a particular moment in history.
Right.
But here's something I find truly baffling.
Okay.
This master painter, whose works now command millions,
Yeah.
wasn't exactly a celebrated figure during his lifetime.
Right.
How is that possible?
It is strange. Vermeer's relative obscurity during his lifetime is a curious paradox.
Yeah.
Unlike some of his contemporaries, he didn't have a wide network of patrons, and he relied heavily on a single local art collector.
Oh, wow.
And this limited his exposure and ultimately contributed to him falling into relative obscurity after his death.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And speaking of unbelievable, have you heard the story about his widow and what happened to some of his paintings?
Ah, yes, the baker.
Yeah, the baker.
It's almost too good to be true, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Facing mounting debts, Vermeer's widow actually traded some of his paintings to a local baker.
To a baker?
Yeah.
Can you imagine unknowingly possessing what would later become priceless masterpieces?
It really highlights the unpredictable nature of artistic recognition, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes genius is only truly appreciated generations later.
Right.
And in Vermeer's case, it took a particular individual to reintroduce his brilliance to the world.
You're talking about the French art critic who stumbled upon View of Delft.
Exactly.
Almost 2 centuries later.
Yeah, almost 2 centuries later.
The one who became completely obsessed with Vermeer.
Yeah, he did. It's fascinating how one person's passion for a virtually forgotten artist can spark a revival.
Yeah.
It was a turning point. It eventually led to Vermeer being recognized as one of the masters of the Dutch Golden Age.
Yeah. It makes you think about the role of chance encounters.
Yeah.
And how one person's enthusiasm can literally change the course of art history.
Right.
But it wasn't just this art critic, right? I mean, modern technology has also played a role in unveiling Vermeer's secrets.
Absolutely. Scientific analysis has given us unprecedented insight into his techniques.
Okay.
For example, we've discovered unusual buildups of paint layers and the use of rare and expensive pigments.
Oh, wow. So we're not just seeing the beauty of his finished work, but
Yeah.
also understanding this meticulous process.
Precisely. We're getting closer to understanding how Vermeer achieved those luminous effects. The
Yeah.
masterful interplay of light and shadow.
Right.
It has a whole new dimension
Okay.
to appreciate his artistry.
And speaking of appreciating his artistry, I think it's time we talk about the girl with the pearl earring.
Yes.
This painting is iconic,
Oh, yeah.
often compared to the Mona Lisa,
Mm-hmm.
right? For its captivating gaze,
Right.
mysterious allure. How did a painting once sold for the equivalent of like $40 today
I know.
become this global phenomenon?
It's a testament to the enduring power of Vermeer's art. Girl with a Pearl Earring, like so many of his works, speaks to something timeless, something that resonates deeply with viewers across generations. And speaking of seeing his work, the Amsterdam exhibition is truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
28 Vermeers, including the girl with the pearl earring, gathered from museums all over the world.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, it's mind-blowing. No wonder the exhibition sold out in just 2 days.
Yeah, it's a testament to the insatiable curiosity surrounding Vermeer, the enduring power of his art. But the question remains, why does his work continue to captivate us centuries later?
Yeah, what is it about those canvases,
Huh.
that speaks to us so profoundly? Maybe it's the tranquility
Maybe.
they offer, a glimpse into this world that feels both familiar and strangely out of reach.
Perhaps. But I believe it's more than just this longing for a simpler time. Vermeer's genius lies in his ability to capture something universal about the human experience. Those quiet moments of reflection, the search for connection, the beauty in the everyday.
It's like he's inviting us to step into his world,
Yeah.
to pause and contemplate the beauty of light and shadow and those fleeting moments of stillness.
Exactly. And while the details of Vermeer's life remain elusive, his paintings offer us a window into his world and his unique way of seeing. And as we delve deeper into his work, we'll discover even more layers to this intriguing puzzle.
Can't wait to unpack more of those layers. What are some of the techniques he used
Yeah.
to create these mesmerizing effects, and what were some of the stories behind the scenes he chose to paint?
Well, let's start with the question that's fascinated art historians for decades. Did Vermeer use a camera obscura to achieve those almost photorealistic effects?
Oh, the camera obscura.
Yeah.
I've heard about this. It was an early form of a camera, right?
Yeah.
But how would he have used it? Like, how would that even work?
So imagine a darkened room with a small hole that allows light to pass through.
Okay.
This would project an image of the outside world onto the opposite wall, reversed and upside down.
Okay.
And some scholars believe that Vermeer might have used this tool to help with composition and perspective.
So he could have traced the projected image to get those incredibly accurate proportions.
It's possible.
But wouldn't that diminish his skill as an artist if he was just tracing?
Not at all.
Okay.
Even if he used a camera obscura, his mastery of light, color, and capturing emotion remains undeniable. No mechanical device can replicate that human touch.
Right.
Think of it this way. It's just a tool.
Okay.
Like we might use a ruler to get a straight line today.
Yeah, that makes sense. But he wasn't just technically brilliant, right? I mean, there's so much symbolism woven into his paintings as well. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Absolutely. Vermeer was a master of symbolism. He used objects and gestures to communicate deeper meanings
Okay.
about morality, virtue, and the passage of time. Take, for example, the recurring motif of the letter,
Oh, yeah.
often held by a woman in his paintings.
The letters. I've always wondered about those. Like, what do they represent?
They're intriguing, aren't they?
Yeah.
A letter can symbolize communication, connection, anticipation,
Mm-hmm.
but also the potential for both joy and sorrow. Is she reading a love letter? A message from a distant friend?
Yeah.
Or news of a tragedy? Vermeer leaves it open to interpretation, inviting us to imagine the story unfolding within the frame.
It's like we're getting a glimpse into these private moments,
Yeah.
sharing in the intimacy of these scenes. No wonder people feel so drawn to his work.
Right. And that's just one example. As we delve deeper into his work, we'll uncover even more layers of symbolism and meaning, enriching our understanding of his genius.
This is already so much more than I expected. It's like we're peeling back the layers of an onion, revealing new complexities with every discovery.
Yeah.
So what else is there to uncover? I'm ready to dive deeper.
All right, let's do it. Let's talk about his technique. Remember those unusual paint layers and pigments
Yeah.
discovered through scientific analysis?
Uh-huh.
They actually hold the key to understanding how Vermeer achieved those incredible luminous effects.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about these techniques. I've always been in awe of how he captures light, especially in his interiors.
Right.
It's like his paintings are glowing from within.
Yeah. He used a technique called glazing,
Okay.
where he applied these thin, translucent layers of paint
Uh-huh.
over dried underlayers.
Okay.
This allowed light to penetrate the layers and reflect back, creating a depth and luminosity that's just breathtaking.
So it's not just about the colors he used, but also how he applied them.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
It's a testament to his meticulous process and his deep understanding of color theory. We see this particularly in his use of expensive pigments like ultramarine,
Okay.
derived from lapis lazuli.
Right.
It lends this richness and vibrancy to his blues,
Okay.
especially noticeable in paintings like The Milkmaid or Woman Holding a Balance.
Speaking of those paintings, I've noticed that women are frequently the subjects
Right?
in Vermeer's work.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the role of women in his art, and how does that reflect 17th century Dutch society?
It's an important point. While Vermeer's paintings offer a window into Dutch domestic life, it's essential to remember that they present an idealized version.
Okay.
Women were often depicted engaged in quiet, contemplative activities.
Right.
Reading letters, playing music, tending to household tasks.
Right.
These scenes convey a sense of tranquility and order.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that their lives were always so serene, right?
Of course not. Life in the 17th century, even in a prosperous city like Delft, had its challenges.
Right.
Women's roles were largely confined to the domestic sphere,
Mm-hmm.
and they faced limitations in terms of education and legal rights.
Yeah.
So Vermeer's paintings, while beautiful, shouldn't be interpreted as a purely accurate historical record.
Right.
They offer a glimpse into a particular aspect of life, seen through the artist's unique perspective.
So it's important to consider the context in which these paintings were created and not romanticize the past too much.
Exactly. While we can appreciate the beauty in the artistry, it's crucial to view them through a critical lens,
Yeah.
understanding the complexities of the society they depict. And within this context, Vermeer's masterful use of symbolism becomes even more intriguing.
Right.
Those seemingly simple domestic scenes are often layered with deeper meanings,
Okay.
prompting us to look beyond the surface and contemplate the stories within the stories.
I remember you mentioned the letter motif earlier. What other symbols did Vermeer use to communicate these hidden messages?
Oh, there are many.
Okay.
Take, for example, the depiction of maps and globes,
Yeah.
often found in the background of his interiors.
Okay.
They represent the Dutch fascination with exploration and their growing global influence at the time.
Okay.
Or consider the musical instruments, often associated with themes of harmony, courtship, and intellectual pursuits.
It's like Vermeer was creating visual puzzles, challenging viewers to decipher the hidden language of his art.
Yeah.
But I'm curious,
Right.
if we're trying to understand the man behind those puzzles,
Yeah.
what clues do we have about his personality,
Yeah.
his beliefs, his motivations?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we have to rely on fragmented pieces of evidence and a lot of informed speculation.
Right.
We know he was a devout Catholic,
Okay.
living in a predominantly Protestant city, which might have contributed to a sense of isolation
Yeah.
or the focus on interior themes in his work.
So his religious beliefs could have played a role in shaping his artistic vision.
It's certainly a possibility worth considering.
Okay.
We also know he was a family man with 15 children.
Wow, 15.
Yeah. And while there are no known portraits of him,
Right.
some scholars believe his eldest daughter, Maria,
Okay.
might have modeled for some of his paintings.
Really?
Yeah, it adds a very personal layer to his work.
Imagine having your own daughter immortalized in a masterpiece.
Right.
That's incredible. But beyond those glimpses, what can we infer about his character from his art itself?
Well, his meticulous attention to detail, his patient observation of light and shadow,
Right.
his ability to capture those fleeting moments of stillness and contemplation,
Huh?
they suggest a mind that was both analytical and deeply sensitive.
It's like we're getting to know him through the eyes of his subjects, even if we never see his own eyes looking back at us.
Precisely. And maybe that's the most fitting way to approach Vermeer.
Yeah.
Not as this historical figure we can neatly categorize, but as a presence that continues to resonate through his art, inviting us to look closely, feel deeply, and ponder the mysteries of the human condition.
It's almost like a paradox.
Yeah.
The more we learn about him, the more mysterious he becomes.
That's true.
But there's one thing we can say for certain. He left behind this legacy that continues to inspire
Yeah.
and intrigue, generations later.
Yeah.
Speaking of legacy, this Amsterdam exhibition is a remarkable opportunity to experience that legacy firsthand.
Absolutely. To see so many Vermeers together, it allows us to appreciate the full scope of his talent
Right.
and really immerse ourselves in his world.
It's like stepping into one of his paintings, isn't it?
Yeah. And the curators have arranged the works in a really interesting way.
Okay.
They've grouped the paintings thematically,
Uh-huh.
which offers a really insightful way to approach his work. You can see his early experimentation, his mastery of specific themes like music and light,
Right.
and the evolution of his technique over time.
It's like a visual biography told through brushstrokes and carefully chosen scenes.
Yeah.
And for those who might not make it to Amsterdam
Right.
for this once-in-a-lifetime exhibition,
Yeah.
what advice would you give for experiencing Vermeer's art, even from afar?
Well, thankfully, many of his most famous works are housed in museums around the world.
Sure.
But even if you can't stand before an original Vermeer, you can still engage with his art in meaningful ways.
How so? Give us some tips.
Look closely at reproductions.
Okay.
Really spend time with the details. Notice the way light interacts with surfaces, the subtle variations in color, those incredible textures he achieved with his brushstrokes.
Okay.
Read about his life and the historical context of his work.
Okay.
Explore the symbolism hidden within those seemingly simple scenes.
Right.
And most importantly, let yourself be transported by the beauty and mystery of his art.
Yeah.
Let it spark your imagination and encourage you to see the world with fresh eyes.
Beautiful advice. It's not just about seeing, but about truly observing, reflecting, and letting those observations spark your own questions and interpretations. Because at the end of the day, isn't that what makes art so powerful?
Yeah.
It invites us into a dialogue, a conversation that transcends time and space.
Absolutely. And with Vermeer, that conversation is particularly rich and rewarding.
Yeah.
His paintings are like these endless wells of mystery and beauty, just waiting to be discovered and rediscovered by each new generation.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we may never fully unlock all of his secrets,
Right.
the joy lies in the journey of exploration, in allowing ourselves to be captivated by his genius,
Yeah.
and in finding our own personal connection to his work.
It's like we're all detectives in a way, piecing together clues,
Yeah.
following threads of inspiration, and ultimately realizing that the real masterpiece is the experience itself, the act of engaging with art and allowing it to enrich our lives.
I like that. The masterpiece is the experience.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, art isn't just about the object itself. It's about the emotions it evokes, the questions it raises, and the conversations it sparks.
Well said. And on that note, what are some of the bigger questions Vermeer's art raises for you? What keeps you coming back to his work time and time again?
It's the stillness he captures for me.
Yeah.
In a world that's constantly buzzing with activity,
Right.
his paintings offer a refuge, a moment to just breathe and just be.
It's true. His work invites that kind of contemplative pause, doesn't it?
It does.
It encourages us to slow down
Yeah.
and savor the present moment,
Yeah.
to appreciate the beauty in the ordinary.
Yeah, that's something that resonates deeply with people today.
Absolutely.
Perhaps even more than it did in Vermeer's time.
I think so. In our fast-paced,
Yeah.
hyper-connected world, those moments of quiet contemplation are
Yeah.
increasingly precious.
They are. And Vermeer reminds us of their value.
Yeah.
He shows us that beauty can be found
Right.
in the simplest of things. A shaft of sunlight illuminating a room,
Mm.
a woman reading a letter, a milkmaid pouring milk.
Right.
He elevates the everyday to the extraordinary without ever being grandiose or over the top.
Yeah, it's that subtle power, that
Yeah.
ability to make us see the world anew. That I find so captivating.
Yeah.
But I also think there's this element of mystery that
Yeah.
keeps us coming back for more, We can analyze his techniques, research the historical context, but there's still so much we don't know about Vermeer himself.
That's the magic of art, isn't it? It
Yeah.
can be interpreted, analyzed,
Yeah.
but ultimately it retains a certain ineffable quality
Right.
that defies easy explanation.
Yeah.
And with Vermeer, the limited information we have about his life only adds to the enigma.
Yeah, he's like a puzzle with missing pieces.
Right.
And each new discovery, each new exhibition brings us a little bit closer to understanding the man behind the masterpieces. But perhaps we'll never fully solve the puzzle.
Right.
And maybe that's okay.
I agree. I think there's a beauty in not knowing everything,
Yeah.
in leaving room for interpretation and speculation.
Right.
And that's what keeps Vermeer's art so alive, so endlessly fascinating.
Yeah.
It invites us to engage in our own personal dialogue with his work, to ask our own questions,
Right.
and to find our own meaning.
It's like he's left us a legacy of questions.
Yeah.
And in seeking those answers, we discover something about ourselves,
Right.
about our own relationship to art
Uh-huh.
and to the world around us.
Beautifully put. And I think that's a wonderful note to end on.
I think so, too. Thank you for taking this deep dive into the world of Johannes Vermeer with us.
My pleasure.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring his art and that you'll continue to be captivated by his genius for years to come.
Absolutely.
And remember, the next time you encounter a Vermeer, take a moment to pause, to look closely and to ask yourself, what story is he telling?
Yeah.
What emotions does he evoke in you?
Right.
And what secrets do you see hidden within those luminous canvases?
It's a journey of discovery.
Absolutely. What a great way to frame it. Because ultimately, the most rewarding part of exploring art is that journey
Yeah.
of discovery itself. So keep exploring,
Absolutely.
keep questioning,
Yeah.
and keep letting Vermeer's art inspire you to see the world with fresh eyes.
I love that.